Hey everybody, this is Caleb from Van Boris Productions, and today I'm going to be talking specifically a little bit about the Letus Helix and specifically how it works with and relates to the Ursa Mini by BlackMagic, because that's what I have. And I did a lot of research before I bought it and I couldn't find anything. So now I thought maybe now that I have the Ursa Mini with the Letus Helix, I can maybe share some information of my experience, my thoughts, kind of show you how it works, and just kind of show you the products together and how they work. So this is going to be a pretty lengthy review, but if you're considering buying the Helix, it's a kind of big investment. So I wish someone had made this for me, so I could learn a bit more about it before I bought it. Don't regret buying it, but just would have liked to know more. Okay, so let's start off. The Letus Helix we got right here. It won't stand up by itself right now because there's nothing on it. But this is the Letus Helix. You're not going to be able to buy the Letus Helix Junior. Go ahead and get that out of your mind. So Letus Helix. I went with the magnesium just because it's like 1.5 pounds lighter. I would recommend you do the same. I got a gimbal because I wasn't, for a lot of my shots I'm moving and, or walking and want to get some smooth, turns and pans and stuff. And so I was looking at a lot of shopping around for gimbals. You got the the Ronin, the Freefly. That new King TV came out with one for they marketed for the Ursa Mini a few months ago. And I considered all of them as well as the Helix. But the other ones just looked a bit heavy and cumbersome, and like a lot of assembly required for putting them together for each shoot. Almost needed a team. And the thing I like about this is that it's built, with a ground operator in mind, holding it one person, as opposed to the other ones which are built, to hang, like for a, big drone or something. So that's what initially drew me to it. I'll go ahead and say if you're looking to save money it's not any more expensive, but you're not saving that much money. All said and done, for the Letus Helix full version with magnesium, it was about $5,000 plus all the stuff that you really need that comes with it. It was close to $6,000. I'll get into all that, but I'm just saying, like, the Ronin or Freefly or something also run about that same price. So price really isn't a factor here to consider. Either way, you're going to be shelling out some money. So when I first bought it, I was thinking that I was just going to be able to put my Ursa Mini on it, pop it on there, screw it in like a tripod, and be good to go. It actually takes a lot of measurements and a lot of balancing. I actually had a shoot the next day after I got it and thought I'd be comfortable enough to use it on the shoot, but really wasn't in front of the client. So let's go over some things. The Ursa Mini for power, and this is no lens right here, 4.6K by the way, because I've also, another thing, I've heard the 4.6K had some troubles with the Ronin if you're trying to power it with the D-tab. 4.6K, it's a very long body. So with the battery, I have a V-mount. With the battery, it just extends. Let's see. Oops. So you get the heavy-duty plate. By the way, you have to get that. It extends a good bit, plus your lens, off of the Helix. So that's a little bit difficult to balance as opposed to like the Red or something, which is a bit more boxy. So when I initially tried to get it working, I had it with the battery on it. With the battery on it, look how long it is. Trying to balance that, on resting it on a plate, it's hard to balance. So it was, very heavy and cumbersome. The Helix can support up to 16 pounds, so I thought, okay, Ursa Mini 5 pounds, lens 3 pounds, battery 2 pounds, I should be good to go. But I think, like I said, that's much for a more compact camera. After trying to balance it with the battery on it, it really wasn't an option. It wasn't feasible. It just stuck out. Let's see, here's the plate. Look at that. Look how far that sticks out off the edge of the plate. It's just not. It's not realistic. It was very hard to balance, extremely front heavy, too heavy to balance. So I actually went back because I initially thought I was going to be able to use the battery, and I actually went back and bought this cord from Letus, which is the 4-prong power tap to plug directly into the Ursa Mini. On their site, they market it as a cord for the F7, but it's the same power cord. and you can actually then power your Ursa Mini from the Helix. For that reason, I bought 2 of the battery packs. These right here, I bought 2 of them from Helix. They say 4 hours without charging the camera, just the Helix, and 1 hour charging the Helix and the camera, so that's why I got 2. You charge these, by the way, just a little cord charger. You can charge them whenever you want. Alright, so let's talk about a few other things as far as purchasing the product, and then I'll go into actually putting the Ursa, or mounting the Ursa on the Helix and talking about me, using it and showing how to use it. So like I said before, in total, it came out to $6,000, and that's because you need to buy all this other stuff, and you really do need it. For example, you don't want to just lug, this around, the weights and the batteries and the plates and the cords and the screws. There's a lot that comes with this Helix, a lot of little parts too. So you really need to get this Pelican case that they offer on their site, which is a hard Pelican case. If you're in the this field, you probably know Pelican cases. Also, it has the cutout inside, the foam cutout, so you can place everything in there. Yeah, it's going to cost you another $400, but I almost see it as a necessity. If you're going to spend $5,000 on this, you're going to want to, not lose all the pieces and make sure it stays safe and not broken. Has somewhere nice to transport, for example. You don't just throw it in a bag. You're going to need the case. So that's the case, by the way. Alright, so let's go ahead and do this. So here's the Ursa. I'm going to take the battery off because I'm not going to be using that. So first up, you got this plate. Here's your plate. And you can actually, mine's a little bit high right now. You can adjust the stopping point. They recommended a light slant up for heavier cameras. And then with this little 6-sided wrench thing, I don't know the name to be honest, it comes with it. You're going to want to tighten it up. It's tight. I'm slow. Alright, then you're going to put your bad boy on there. Sorry for the background, it's not very clean, I know, but I obviously invested my money in camera equipment and not beautiful houses with home studios. Alright, so to put on the Ursa, you bring it over, you flip this upside down, so the label's up, or excuse me, down. Put the things in the slots, and I'll tell you, it's very tight. Even completely unscrewed, I thought I had the wrong piece or something. These poles are very tight in the holes. Let me tighten this a bit more. Flip it around, and here you go. So the first thing you'll notice is that it's going to want to fall forward. And this is the stuff I was talking about earlier, that it takes a while to understand it and be able to set it up, because it's not quick. It's going to want to fall forward. So you're going to, these 2 ones on the bottom, pull it back and balance it. Alright, so there's 4 ways you have to balance it. Side to side like this, and you want it to be side to side like this, so like the top and bottom, left and right have to be aligned. The front and back have to be aligned, and it also has to be, this is the one I didn't realize, aligned in the center, like on the Z axis. So there's 4 things you have to measure. I can already tell this is not going to be, that I'm going to need to put a weight on this side, so for now, I don't know why, with this lens it leans to the left. For now, I'm just going to do no lens. I'll put the lens on later. Alright, so for the most part, you see it's balanced up and down. Then you need to balance it this way. You're going to see as I do it like that, it's going to lean slightly that way. So move it up. A little bit, now you see it goes that way. So it's very precise, but this is the stuff I was talking about. Alright, now you see it stays on its own. Bring it down a little bit. It should stay on its own. So it stays on its own sideways, it stays on its own front ways. Lock that in. Now, you have to see if it stays on its own up and down these ways. And it's important to have the motor on top, and the motor should always be on the right if it's vertical. Just by the way, I know people have had problems with that. So, is it going to stay on its own upsy downsies ways? And you're probably thinking, why do I have to balance this all if there's a motor in it? That's what I was thinking. It's because the motor can only do so much. You have to balance it first, and then it'll keep it balanced. So the best way to do this is remove this side handle, the one without the motor, put it over here, and then you can rest it on its side like this. See, it's very lean forward. So you're going to have to unscrew these ones until you get it just right. Actually, that's pretty close. There we go. See, now it's not falling forward or backwards. Tighten it. Now it's balanced 3 ways. Front, back, left, right. Put it back on its side. And the last way that people don't always remember to balance it, and they don't understand why they're having problems, is the, hold on. Is the, I guess, x-axis, if you will. So if you hold it up, it should be able to kind of float wherever it is in space. See how it's wanting to fall forward? You have to have it balanced front and back. So you've already done front and back, you have to balance it centerly. So because it's wanting to move, we're going to want to move these, I find, because I always thought, you know, the handles, you can have them as high or as low as you want, that's just your preference. No, the handles on the side matter. So, now I have these both at 4 on the side. And if, for example, if I had them all the way up, and see how it's not going down, that's good. But if I also turn it like this, well, now it's swinging a bit. You don't want it, like for example, if I have it like this, I don't want it to swing back down like it's doing. I want it to stay more or less however I rotate it. So, I'm going to need to lower these. I'm going to lower them 2 notches. Try it again. Alright. See how it's, now, it's maybe hard to look at, you're like, what is he doing? But the fact that it's not just swinging back down this bottom bar is what we want. See how it's staying up? That's what we want. It's not bottom heavy. It's essentially what we're trying to get out. Okay. Now we have it balanced. Side, other side, front, back, center. Alright. You're gonna want to get the app. Hold on, let me move my text messages. The Letus Helix app, you can get it in the store, this bad boy right here. I won't go into all the things right now, but this, let's see. You connect to it. Okay, I gotta connect to the Wi-Fi and stuff, so I won't do it right now. But you pick your profile then, and you pick like the power for each, you know, each setting. And this is important to turn it on heavy camera mode, especially for the Ursa Mini, because if not, it might not devote enough power to all the joints. Also in the app, you can adjust, there's only one button on this thing, it's this blue button over here. Also in the app, you can adjust the settings for what that button does. You know, 1 push changes the mode, 2 pushes turns it off, 3 pushes. So you need that app really. You can also connect it via directly with the USB to the computer, but that was really confusing and really not user friendly at all. It's just a bunch of numbers and words that, I'll be honest, I didn't know what it meant. So I would say use the app. It took a little bit to connect, but it does work. So you need that app to set it up. In the back here, you should see the green lights. That's the battery. Then I got it balanced, so that means it's on. If you don't see the green lights or hear beeping, well, the beeping is a setting you can switch in the app, but you should at least see green lights. A blue light. Go ahead, set the handles how you're going to want to hold them, then hit the blue button. Now we hold it up, and as you can see, I'm going to do some examples. Goes up and down, not exactly with the handle. I mean, you know, a little bit of smoothness to it, which is what you want. So you can go up and down, right like this. Down, up, down, up. Okay. We can also go, I'm sure you've seen all the demos, it does go side to side. Now it's a little bit wobbly. I do that. So, realistically, in real life, you're not going to be filming things and often be like, oh, gotta switch to, you know, whatever mode, or boom, gotta do that. You know, most of the time it's just walking and eliminating that bump. Just eliminating, not eliminating, because if you're still going like this, it's still going to be there, but just smoothing out that wobble and smoothing out the this way too. So also, obviously, you go that way. It does pan with it, and you can adjust how fast it pans with it. Just it's smooth, smooth. The one thing I will say is if you start to go like this and diagonal, it starts to kind of tilt out. So you're gonna either, you know. Also, I'm sure you've seen the suitcase mode. It does work fine. You got your suitcase, you can go back and forward, and it stays. Again, that could be useful for lower shots, but for the most part, you're not going to use it. Alright, let's try powering it up with the power cable. So, I don't know if you can see that, but the Ursa Mini is now on. It's being powered directly by the Helix, and without much, like, you know, third party or like weird connections. They have a built-in port. You can just plug directly Ursa Mini into that. I still don't have a lens on it, so doing with a lens, I'd have to, you know, rebalance it. And right now, it's actually falling to the side because the LCD is open. So I'd have to put some weights on back here. And I don't think I'll do it in this video, just because that's even a longer process. Weights also snugly, very tightly fit. It's hard to get them on. Put onto this thing, and you you know, balance it with the LCD or whatever, so that I could do this, go forward, backwards, and it does fine. I still don't have the lens on. I can put a lens on. Now the lens does make it more front heavy, so you have to scoot it even back. You know, forward, backwards, and there it goes. So when that happens, that's not good. Because now it's probably... So what I needed to do was, now that there's more weight on the back, I have to scoot it back. And you see how it fell right there? That's because it's not balanced like it was. So anytime you make changes, you have to rebalance it. So I rebalanced it left to right, but I didn't rebalance it frontwards to backwards. So I will say, for example, this lens works fine on it. It's the 24 to 105 millimeters Canon, but I have some other lenses that are heavier, like pretty heavy, and even all the way back on the Ursa, it still doesn't, excuse me, and even all the way back on the Helix, it still doesn't compensate enough for the weight of the lens in the front. I'll real quickly go into my positives and negatives. I think once you get the hang of it, it's pretty quick and easy to set up. Once you know what you're doing and know how to balance it, there's little numbers along it. You can remember your settings pretty easily, set it up, and one person can do this. You know, you don't need a team or a crew. It could, you know, it'll take 5 minutes or so to set up and balance, but it's doable, it's manageable for one person. So that's good, and it does, end result, end note, it does work with the Ursa Mini. The weight, it can handle the weight, it just takes a bit of balancing, and it is a bit awkward so long in the front, but it can handle it. The negatives, Letus doesn't give you a ton of information. They don't give you hardly any, I mean they don't give you any setup or like PDF instruction manual that come with it, which is kind of frustrating when you have no idea what you're doing. They do have some videos on their website, and they have like a help section. There's a manual on their website, but it's just very kind of sporadic and vague, and there's no specific thing that comes with the package. It's like, okay, great, you open your package, here's step 1. This is the first thing you do. Here's step 2, and like baby step you through it, which maybe some of you don't need. I did. So for me, that was a bit confusing. But whenever I had any questions, I had to order some cables and some stuff came late or whatever, and I got double charged accidentally. It was the credit card company's fault, not Letus's fault. Their customer service was always very helpful and always, talked to me. I got someone on the phone every time, answered my questions, and was able to help me out. So they could maybe provide a little more information initially, but if you do reach out to them, I found them to be pretty helpful. That's kind of my review. I just wanted to show that you can mount the Ursa Mini on the Letus Helix. I'll put some other footage up, kind of showing what it looks like, but it does involve a little bit of work, but it does work. So that's my thoughts, my reviews, and kind of, my little mini tutorial of how to put the Ursa Mini on the Helix. Hope this helps. If not, well, I just wanted to share it. So thanks for watching. If you have any questions or want to know anything specific about the Ursa Mini and the Helix, I'd be happy to answer. All right, thanks guys. I'll see you soon.